Hey, it's me, Red. How are you? I'm good, thanks for asking. Today I'm going to be reading you some r/IDontWorkHereLady. Are you ready? Okay, let's get going.
Are you slow or something?
Yes, actually I am. Quick preface. I was in a very serious car accident a little over a year ago. This left me some brain damage, nerve damage, etc. Throughout many days I have episodes where I get disorientated, forget where I am, what I'm doing, what's going on around me. I used to do heavy manual labour, but I'm now working at a well-known department store with aprons of a certain citrus variety. A couple of days ago, I was shopping at our store with a friend. I was wearing a black and orange hooded flannel. I love flannels and I have this exact one in multiple colours, but this one was the only clean one at the time. I'm approached by a middle-aged man carrying a small metal piece related to light bulbs. Well, at this certain point of our trip, I was starting to have an episode. My body got really hot, I zoned out quite a bit, and was just overall not there 100%. He asked me where I can find a replacement for this piece, and I point towards the hardware department, even though I was off duty, not in uniform, and clearly shopping myself. Where I pointed seemed to confuse him, and he muttered something under his breath while giving a really puzzled look, but goes anyway. We go to the water fountains near the bathrooms in the back so I can get some fluids in my system and chill out a bit. When we continue shopping a few minutes later, who passes us? None other than puzzled-looking man complaining about stupid employees, blah blah blah. Oh no, it's about to go down. At first he stops a few feet away from me, looked around, clearly searching for the stupid guy who sent him over to the hardware department, until he realizes I'm standing right by him. He locks eyes with me and the conversation goes as follows.
Are you the one who sent me all around the store looking like an idiot?
Oh my god, sorry, I was confused by what you showed me.
It's a blank!
I forget the exact name of the piece.
Why the F would you send me the hardware aisle? Are you mentally deficient or something? Is this one of those programs?
I'm sorry, man. I'm not even working right now. I'm just trying to enjoy my day off. I didn't mean to send you to the wrong place. At this point, another employee walks up and tries to defuse the situation. Seeing me, their subpar mental capacities co-worker, and a fuming customer in a situation. Co-worker, what seems to be the problem?
Thank God! Are you mentally deficient too? Or do you think you can show me where to find this?
And he gestures to the small piece in his hand. Sir, I understand you can't know this, but I am a bit slow at times. I have fairly serious brain damage, and also, as I said before, it's my day off. I gestured to my co-worker's apron. When I say this, the guy turned white as a ghost. I kid you not. White as a ghost. Mouth agape, it was glorious. After this, everything dies down a bit, and I bask in the small win. One last note. Sympathy is never something I seek. I'm fairly high functioning and work with someone who truly has a rough condition, so I don't take advantage of it. But I couldn't stand this man talking to anyone like this. I just imagined him saying it to someone much more emotional than I, and it broke my heart. This should serve as a good reminder that there are hidden disabilities, invisible disabilities. Just because you look at someone and think they're normal, it doesn't mean they don't have something else going on. I have a friend who has an invisible disability, and I've heard a few stories about people being absolute scum. So just assume you don't know everyone's story.
Parking employee parking.
Verse, I'm not an employee. This happened over the course of a few weeks, about 2 years ago. I was working as a construction design engineer for hospitals, plumbing and air conditioning. I work for a company that's hired by the hospital, not for the hospital itself. My company had been hired to do an ER renovation on an old hospital, and the plans for the existing building were really old, damaged, or just didn't exist anymore. As low man on the totem pole, I got the fun job of going out to the hospital to document, investigate the existing building. Lots of going up on ladders and looking above the ceiling to track down pipes, ducts, and such. Because this was an ER and therefore 24 hours a day, we had to time our investigation for non-busy times, namely 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the middle of the week. I was also working my normal office hours because my job offered overtime or in lieu hours, and I needed the overtime pay. College loans, lol. So for all of these interactions, I was exhausted and just didn't give a crap. So, on to the story. I'd parked in the hospital parking garage on the top floor to be out of the way of patients and visitors. I'd finished early because an emergency had come into the ER and I had to get out of the way, so I had some extra time, so I decided to close my eyes a bit before driving to the office. When I was woken up by a tapping on my window, a man was peering in the window. We'll call him Parking Dude. I waved at him thinking he was just making sure I was all right. I was sleeping in a hospital parking lot. Parking Dude gestured for me to roll down my window, so I cracked it to hear him better. He gruffly declared that employees are to park in the back lot or on the street if that's full. Next time I'll have you towed. He then turned and marched back to his golf cart, which he blocked me in with, as I called out, "I don't work here." He left. I left and went to work thinking it was a one-time deal. Little did I know. Over the next few visits, I came back to my car to find increasingly angry parking tickets about parking in employee parking from now on. They were printed on A4 and very obviously homemade with a blurry hospital logo and a word art parking enforcement across the top. The notes threatened booting, towing, and demands for my supervisor's name so I could be reported. I wish I still had them to share with you. My co-workers and I had quite a laugh over them. I even left a note on my dash saying I wasn't an employee, and the next ticket had a rant about lying and that you will be written up for lying once I get your supervisor's name. Then one morning I came out to find Parking Dude waiting for me. He had blocked my car in with his golf cart and was grinning at me like a cat who got the cream. I walked up to him and Parking Dude said, "Employees have to park in the back lot. You are in so much trouble. I demand to speak to your manager." Yes, he really said it. "Give me their name and number and the department you work for. I won't let you leave until you give me your manager's name." He did have my car blocked in. I tried to explain that I wasn't an employee. I pointed to my outfit: work boots, jeans, safety glasses, and a tool belt with flashlights, tape measures, lasers, and a clipboard with my drawn plans, and told him that this is where hospital admin had told us to park. But he insisted that my disguise wasn't going to trick him and demanded to speak to my manager. I was so exhausted and wasn't really up to arguing, so I just pulled out my business card and my boss's card and handed them over. I told my boss about this and he just told me to ignore it, as he had confirmed with the hospital that that's where I was supposed to park. This dude pulled out his phone and called my boss and reported me. My boss, an older gentleman who is also president of the company, later told me he'd told Parking Dude that he had to let me leave or he was calling the police. When the dude hung up, he told me, "I'm letting you leave this time, but next time you park here, I'll boot your car and find your real manager's number and report you. Some trick with your friend won't work." He got in his golf cart and zoomed away. Luckily, my boss found this whole thing hilarious. It was about a week before I went back. Bad weather, busy ER, no work for me. And I was almost done with my task. I would be back after construction started, but it's all on hold now because of COVID. I'd finished for the day once again and headed out to my car, to find he had, sort of, done what he'd threatened. There was a thick chain looped through the handle of my driver's side rear door and a cinder block all tied together with a large padlock. I knew this guy was a bit nutty, but I also had figured out that he didn't have any real authority, so to find this half clever, half poorly thought out ball and chain attached to my car was a bit of a surprise. Now, I got into engineering because I like solving problems. I actually don't really like math even if I'm not half bad at it. And this wasn't a particularly complex problem. I simply rolled my back window down and lifted the cinder block and excess chain into my car, then drove away. I passed Parking Dude on my way out, and to say he was shocked was an understatement, and I gave him a jaunty wave as I drove by. It was a cold drive back to my office with the window open, but it was worth the look on his face. When I got to the office, I had to go in and sign out the bolt cutters and was followed out by a parade of my co-workers to see it for themselves. I had to go back one more time. I was eager to see what Parking Dude might do after his last plan failed. I came out to find he had tried the chain and cinder block bit again. This time he'd wrapped the chain around the bottom of the wheel a few times and had the cinder block tied pretty close to the wheel and the chain through the handle again. It was definitely chained in a way that it would take a lot more ingenuity to get out of. Or a pair of bolt cutters I hadn't returned to the office. You know, just in case. I cut through the chain, unchained the car, and then loaded the whole lot into my trunk. parking dude must have been harassing some other person because he only pulled up as I was backing out of the spot. He blocked my car again with his cart and jumped out. He came to my window and I did roll it down just to see what he had to say.
Hey, where are the chains? How did you get loose? This is stealing.
Is it stealing to take stuff he attached to my car?
I will have your job for this.
I never did hear the rest of the rant as I yelled, "Magic! And I'm not an employee!" during a pause for breath and drove around his cart and away. It was the most dramatic exit of my life and will probably never be topped. It was my last day there for now, and I've since gotten a new car, so I'm not sure if I'll run into parking dude again. I'd like to think he's still puzzled over how I managed to unchain my car. My boss did lodge a complaint, but I don't think anything came of it. Some people just crave authority and can never get any real power, so they do stupid petty stuff like this parking dude did. I hope you guys enjoyed those r/IDontWorkHereLady stories, read by Red. That's me, I'm Red, in case you didn't realise. Please give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe as well and click the notification bell thingy and get all the notifications so you know when I've posted some new entertainment for you. Thanks so much. Have a good day. Bye.